Hey, it helps if I add myself to the stage. Hey, I am Shiraz, and welcome to Rewriting Reality. There's a bunch of weird things going on today. First of all, I'm traveling again. I am in Charleston, South Carolina, for an event called Icon Maker Live, which I'm really looking forward to. It starts tomorrow. We have a guest, Andrea Isaacs, who's apparently watching on the stream on YouTube. She should be in the studio. I put the link to get into the studio in the chat. It should also be in your email. I think you clicked the wrong link. So if you click the right link, you can jump in and then you'll appear here with me. No, because if you were here, I'd see you in the backstage area. So if you click that StreamYard thing, that's really weird because you are not appearing anywhere here. Now, there could be some weird technical stuff going on with StreamYard because today's Rewriting Reality episode did not appear in the list of episodes that we're showing today, and I had to recreate it. And when I recreated it, the original one showed up, and then I clicked on that, and I'm here now. So, not sure. Oh, wait, she's just appeared in the backstage. Okay, things are getting better now. We're working this stuff out. So again, welcome to Rewriting Reality. For those of you who are new to the show, what happens on this show is I bring in guests and we get to know a little bit about our guests, and then they coach me for about 15 to 20 minutes in their area of expertise. So you can see how they show up as a coach, what they do, what they have to offer, and whether or not you think, hey, you know what? I might want to work with that person. And then we flip it around. And I coach them using what I call energetic magic. And that can go all sorts of ways. We've had transformations, we've had laughter, we've had tears. The guests have no idea what's in store for them, but that's just what happens on this show. So I'm going to bring up our guest. Make sure everything's working. There's Andrea. Welcome, Andrea. So for those out there, Andrea Isaacs is the founder of the Emotional Mastery Institute, and she helps entrepreneurs soar even higher through emotional mastery. She helps you to expand your reach, impact, and your income. Her unique approach combines decades of embodiment practices with the study of personality and is backed up by a brain lab research project. Damn. She brings the missing step for busting beliefs holding you back from your wholeness and brilliance so that you can be your best and highest self, no matter what. And you can create the life you want and you deserve. Welcome, Andrea.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm ready for laughter and tears.
Okay.
I like your intro.
All right. So today's show is just quite interesting. Now, you can hear me opening up a can. This is a can of Red Bull. I'm having Red Bull because I woke up at 3:00 this morning to leave for the airport at 4 so I could catch my 6 a.m. flight. So we're at 12 hours right now. And I went to bed at 1:00 in the morning. So we're at 2 hours sleep. I need a Red Bull.
Red Bull. Cheers.
Cheers. So, and I'm also in Charleston, and this room is kind of weird because the desk is really low. So I've actually got my laptop on my suitcase to make sure it's high enough so I can actually see in the camera. This is today's show. Okay. So Andrea, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you on. We have been having fun in the last little while together. So tell the audience about emotional mastery, how you got into it and why it's important.
How I got into it was growing up, I didn't have any emotional mastery. Okay. People didn't have good conversations. Important topics weren't talked about. I was painfully shy and had no voice. Did I want to change that? Of course I did. Could I? I tried so many things and nothing worked. And so my first professional career was not surprising, nonverbal, essentially. I was a professional dancer. Now, of course, I had to talk, but it was much more comfortable to be on stage and to express myself through movement rather than to speak and be seen as just me. That was terrifying. Mm-hmm. Fast forward many years, I learned a personality system called the Enneagram, and I dove headfirst into learning this system, and it I understood for the first time why I was so shy. And so I dove headfirst into a training program, sitting on my butt for a week, 12 hours a day, and getting great information. But I just wanted to do the types. I wanted to experience in my body the different gifts and challenges all these different personalities had. It was so clear to me that it should exist, and it could, and it didn't. So I created a system to explore all those personality qualities through movement and as an experiential way to learn. But what happened next surprised me, because I changed. Confidence became a part of who I was. And it started to change my story about being shy and not having a voice. I found my voice. And now I have a passion for everybody else to be all that you are. So you have a voice and can have the business, the relationships, the life that you want and deserve. Yes.
All right. Well, I am looking forward to see exactly how that works. And I've heard of that system, but I've never actually tried it out. So what does that system show you exactly?
Well, I created my own quiz that gives me your answers to a handful of questions. And when I look at your blueprint, the results of your quiz, I can see your unique combination of gifts in all areas of the Enneagram. Most people use the system as a typology system. They say, this is your type. And I see that as a very narrow way to view the system, because when I look at your blueprint, I see that we all have different amounts of the gifts and the challenges of all of the types, the gifts and the challenges. And so your unique combination of gifts often points to your life purpose or your soul's purpose. And your unique combination of challenges points to why that's not been clear and why it's not, you don't know it. You can't live your life purpose. What's getting in the way of blocking you from knowing who you are or bringing it out into the world? And so it's been really the primary guide, not a primary guide, but it really is a guide to how I do my coaching with people, because I can see where their blocks are and where their gifts are and how they can live into their gifts.
All right. So I don't know if that's foreshadowing. How long is this quiz? Is this something we can do on the show, or should I have done it before the show?
Well, I can certainly give you the link to it. I can put it in the chat. Should I put it in the chat? It takes 5 or 10 minutes, so they would get distracted from what we're doing here now.
Okay, so then let's leave it, and we can give it to them later.
Okay, so that's a good idea. All right.
Because I know if you put it in the chat now, when I was just watching, I'd be all over that quiz.
It takes 5 or 10 minutes. It's really easy to do, but it's amazing how much information I get out of it. And people often tell me, "You know me better than my partner."
Ooh. Okay. So you know me better than partner. So
I haven't seen your blueprint yet.
I don't have a partner, but I like that. I like that because that gives me an idea of like how powerful this is and what can happen. So tell me, what is the most profound change you've had with the client with this work?
Oh gosh. One of my favorite stories is this. It was a senior leader in a global corporation. He'd been there for over 20 years, and he was known as a tough nut. He had anger issues. He'd been sent to anger management programs that didn't work. And so they sent me this tough nut. And I learned in our short time together, and I had seen his blueprint, but I learned, though, that his father had been abusive. And so as young people, we don't know what's right or wrong in the world yet. We're treated a certain way, and we just take it as, well, that's the way the world is, and that's the way a man is. And so he became the man his father was. There's parental role modeling, and he did it well. And so he had been married and divorced 3 times because of his anger. And he had young kids who were afraid of him. And so in doing my work is, once I find the blocks, there's usually an early life imprint that created a message about who you are. And as you know, that becomes the story that we live. We live into it because we don't know any better. We come in as a blank slate. We're told you're stupid or you're wrong, or I don't have time for your needs don't matter. Or any diminishing message. It's great if it's an empowering message, but if it's a diminishing message and it's repeated over and over again, that neural pathway gets really strong. Like your muscles get bigger and stronger when you work out at a gym. We do our reps every time that message gets repeated. And so it involves a healing process. And I have my own system that I created for the healing work as well. I could call it shadow work, but it is working with the shadow. One of the things I say is the wounds take up room. And once we heal that wound, there's room, there's space. So we did a healing process for this. Were you going to say something?
No, I like that analogy. That's you.
Oh, just leaning in.
You take up the room and you get back, right? So.
So we did this healing process. And then my work is also anchored in two words that you probably all know the meaning of these words, but I'll describe how I use them: mantras and mudras. Mantras traditionally are words or phrases. Om is a popular mantra. And the mudra traditionally is a prayer or meditation position. And they're both Sanskrit. I take a lot of creative license with these terms. And so I have, my work is also about embodiment. So he was embodying the pain and the anger and the impact he had on people he loved. And then we shifted the energy in his body. And the mantra and the mudra he came up with afterwards, where he stood up and he just dropped his arms and he said, I dropped the baggage. And he took a step forward and he said, and I step into the ring of emotion. I thought it's going to be a boxing ring because he was that kind of guy. But no, the ring of emotion. And then he goes like this: my whole heart is present. And he's got his hands cupped in front of his heart. And he reaches his palms forward and he says, and I'm ready for a new way to love. And tears were streaming down his face.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I know.
The same guy.
No kidding. So if I had told him when he walked in the door to, hey, why don't you say these words? You know, he would have just gotten up, walked out and slammed that door and never come back. I guarantee you. But it came from his body's awareness of, I don't want to be like that anymore. I don't want to ruin this new relationship. And the next day I got a call from his boss who said, what did you do to him? He's a new man and a new leader.
Wow. All right. That is beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
love that. All right. So my next question then is, when it comes to mastering your emotions, what is the biggest misconception or false belief people have?
Ooh, I love that. I had almost not an argument, but I had a challenging conversation with someone about that, who said, I don't want to master my emotions. That's controlling them. And I'm not going to control my emotions. I want to feel what I feel. Mm. Well, I think it's great. I want you to feel what you feel too. The good, bad, the ugly, all of it, because it's all part of human nature. It's all part of who you are. That the mastery that I like to, what I mean by the mastery is choosing them, managing them. So when you're hurt or angry, you can express it in a healthy way that honors and respects everybody involved. So everyone is seen, heard, understood, and honored. And conflict can be resolved with ease or can be avoided, not by not talking about it, but by resolving it before it happens. And in my work, I teach people how to expand their emotional capacity so that when life or someone or something challenges them, they have a new range, a broader range of emotions to choose from. Emotions determine our mindset. So when we choose our emotions, it determines our mindset. That determines how we show up in those challenging moments. And it doesn't mean to repress them. It doesn't mean to not speak up. You have to speak up if you're hurt or angry and you want to maintain that relationship, because if you don't, it festers. You carry it. You start to resent that person. You get more short-tempered when you're with that person. It's always kind of niggling in the back of your mind. And that doesn't work. What happens when people have these, what I call the 5 C's to tango with tough topics, which is the masterclass I'm doing tomorrow. When they have 5 C's, they're able to manage their emotions and have these difficult conversations in a way that nurtures and deepens the connection with that person instead of challenging it or even ending it. Because sometimes relationships end because they just don't know how to talk to each other.
Okay. Now, one thing you said there is that we give you a bigger range of emotions.
Yeah.
Now, I've already dealt with the range of emotions. Why would I want it to be bigger?
Oh, well, do you ever hear someone go like, they'll cross their arms and say, that's just me. That's who I am. Take it or leave it. Okay. Now, that's having a narrow range of emotion. I'm going to dig my heels in the sand and this is how I feel. So it's 2 things, actually. It's building your capacity or your range. So instead of being hurt or angry, you can be calm and collected and speak up for yourself. It's also emotional flexibility, because you don't always have to be the way you always were. Because as you know, the brain has neuroplasticity. So if we take advantage of that fact, then we're able to be flexible. If I want to be shy and not tell you that you hurt my feelings the other day, I can choose that. But if I have the capacity and the range and the willingness, the flexibility to stay present and say, you know what, I want to talk about what happened or something like that. It's a choice. And if you don't have that range, capacity, and flexibility, you don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
You're stuck in the old story.
I know about stories.
I know.
And Jessica's saying, sounds like what Shiraz says often. I do say don't suppress your emotions. But I've never actually talked about the range of emotions and expanding the range of emotions.
Ooh.
Okay.
Cool.
I like this. I like where this is going. So, all right. So, as I said on this show, the guest gets to coach me. And so I have no idea what's about to happen.
I know.
Throwing myself in here. And so what are we doing, Andrea? What's gonna
Well, I have no idea what'll happen either. And I'm really
Okay.
honored and delighted that you are trusting me to coach you. And I know you and I talked before doing this about, after all the work that you've done, like how coachable are you? And I loved your response about how willing you are to be vulnerable. And I really just want to take a moment and acknowledge that, because I'll know I'll be really vulnerable when you coach me, because I'm going to learn and grow all the time. I'm going to learn and grow until my last breath. So I just want to honor that it's a risk. It takes courage. And I'm so honored that you are trusting me to do that.
Well, what I've learned is as soon as you start to think you know everything, that's when the downward spiral goes in your career and your life. Right?
So true. So true. So we're going to do go deep into the first C of my 5 C's to tango with tough topics.
Okay.
In short, it's who you're being. And,
Okay.
and I want to ask you some questions. And I want people to know that you'll hear me typing, and I'm not getting email. I'm typing because I want to capture what you say, and I'm going to read some things back to you later. Okay. So for me, typing's like you're coughing.
Is this like a rapid response thing where you ask a question? I got it.
No, not necessarily. I just type fast.
No. I mean, but for me, what should I be like thinking about the question, or should I be like first thing that comes into my mind, just go
first thought, best thought.
Okay, got it.
Good question. Okay. Right. So first question. Have you ever avoided or procrastinated a difficult conversation?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that response. Thank you. Have you ever had one and it didn't go well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is great material then. We got something to do here. So if you could go back in memory to one of those conversations, maybe the one where your reaction was the strongest, and take a moment and see yourself and feel into who you were being. And when you have it, tell me what was going on inside you, either emotionally or in your body.
Emotionally, well, I mean, it was disbelief. It was me trying to be in control of the outcome, even though the outcome was going in the opposite direction that I wanted it to go. And so then there was panic, there was anger, there was helplessness.
Thank you.
And and then there was a lot of sorrow.
And what was the last thing?
Sorrow.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And if you go back in memory, even further back, even childhood perhaps.
Okay.
Did any of those emotions, helplessness, trying to be in control, any of those emotions that you remember from childhood?
The earliest memory from childhood of a feeling like that was when I fell off a table at 6 months old.
Wow. So did you that's, first of all, that's horrible. Like, why was your mom or dad not paying attention?
I have no idea.
Or did it give you the feeling like that did they raise that question for you?
Yeah. So that was like, where is everyone? Why did I have to go through this? Well, like if there was a feeling of abandonment, of being alone, and from a child's from a child's point of view, it's felt like forever, but like someone.
Sure. Well, for the length of your lifetime,
really
it was a big chunk.
Yeah.
Where is everyone? Abandonment, feeling alone, and there you fell on the floor, and it probably hurt, right? Did it feel
Yeah.
like no one cares?
Yeah.
How would you put that in your words, from the little boy's words? Like, I fell off the table and mom or dad, no one's here. They're not paying attention.
It was, I mean, because I didn't have words at that point. It was just this
Sure.
emotion of
Yeah.
abandonment.
Yeah. Like no one's there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in a moment, I'm going to describe what we're going to do, and you don't have to memorize this. I'm going to talk you through it step by step, but I just want you to have a sense of what we're going to do.
Mhm.
So because my work is about embodiment, in a moment, I'm going to talk you back to that 6-month-old little boy, and have you feel, just for a moment, have you feel this feeling that was coming up when you fell off the table. And then we're going to shift the energy in
Just
your
because I know
body.
I could feel some viewers sort of freaking out. It wasn't like I fell off the table and went, it was like I fell off in just like a short distance, right? But it was still, it wasn't like something that would kill a kid or something like or cripple me. But it was still the same emotional impact.
So why don't you tell, oh, I didn't see the chat before, now I see it. So do you want to say something about what, like how you were injured, or if what happened to you?
I barely even remember. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
6-month-old memory, but
Yeah.
it came up during a session I was doing with someone, and I had the memory, and then the person I was working with said, "Did you ever fall off something when you were about 6 months old?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I just had that memory pop in my head."
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for clarifying for the person who is concerned about what happened.
It wasn't in the chat. I could just feel the energy
I
of
see.
what's going on
Got
with
it.
the audience.
So, I know it's not pleasant to go back to painful memories, but I want you to know it won't last long, and there's always a turnaround. So whenever you feel a response in your body to anything I say, I want you to turn the volume up. And this is what I mean. Turning the volume up is like when you're watching TV or listening to music and you can't hear it, you turn it up, because then you get what's going on. We often don't hear what's going on in our bodies because so many of us stopped living and paying attention to our bodies. So whatever you do, the way you turn the volume up is to repeat it again and again and again, and to exaggerate it more and more and more. So in other words, if you start to feel small, I want you to exaggerate it and really feel small. And so on. Does that make sense?
Okay. I kind of get it. Yeah.
So here's this little boy, 6-month-old baby, 6 months old, innocent, pure being on this table. And you fall off the table and you start to feel abandoned. Just notice that feeling of abandonment in your body, feeling of being alone. No one's there to console you right away. It felt like forever. It felt, yeah, I feel you. I see your body starting to take it on. That's good. And exaggerate it even more. It's like no one cares about me. No one's there for me. And imagine, good job. Yeah. Imagine carrying that feeling around with you for the rest of that day and the next day and the day after and years and decades later. Imagine, what if you lived your life out feeling like you're alone and no one cares? Would you want that?
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Stay there just another moment and start to ask your body what it wishes it could have heard, what this little boy wishes he could have heard, or what could have been done.
I got you.
I got you. What else?
If someone had been there sooner.
Oh, I wish I could have been there sooner. How about you're not alone?
Yep.
Can I hear you say it in your words?
You're not alone.
Yeah. How about instead of no one cares?
I'll always be there for you.
Yeah. What about, is there something about love this little boy wished he could have heard? He's all alone. No one's there.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't feel like they don't love me. It just feels like they've forgotten for a while.
Oh, they forgot you.
Yeah.
Instead of having forgotten you, what do you wished they could have expressed instead of forgetting you?
It comes back to I'll always be there for you.
I'll always be there for you. Yeah. Okay, stay in that situation another moment. I can just read that back to you. And just notice what it feels like to receive this message. Shiraz, I've got you. I've got you. I wish it could have been, and as your body responds, notice it, allow it, and repeat it and exaggerate back to him. You're not alone. I'm right here. I'll always be there for you. I've got you. I'm watching you. I'm always here. I'm always here for you. And imagine letting yourself really receive that message. I'm always here for you. I've got you. What's that feeling in your body?
It feels warm. It feels fulfilling.
It feels, what was the last one?
Fulfilling.
Fulfilling.
Safe.
Safe.
Comforted.
Comforted. Anything else?
That's it.
I'm going to take the words you just gave me and rearrange them a little bit.
Okay.
So give me just a moment. Okay, I like to put these into I am statements.
Okay.
And I want you to repeat this after me and just notice if it feels right. Because sometimes it's not the right words, and certainly I often like to tweak. And you can be part of the tweaking as well, of course, because this is yours, your mantras. We're going to start with I am comforted. And as you say the words, feel the meaning of the words in your body, in every cell of your body. I am comforted.
I am comforted.
Yeah, and let your body respond to those words. Say them again.
I am comforted.
One more time.
That just makes me relax more.
I'm comforted and relaxed.
I'm comforted and relaxed.
Beautiful. I'm warm, safe, and fulfilled.
I am warm, safe, and fulfilled.
Feel the meaning of those words in your body. And when you're ready, say them again.
I am warm, safe, and fulfilled.
So the way this can be an antidote, if that old wound, if I could call it that no one's there for you ever arises, what you can do is remind yourself of the truth that you are these words. I am comforted and relaxed. I'm warm, safe, and fulfilled. Let's you say them again. Should I do them one at a time?
Sure.
Yeah, you think so. Okay, and turn the volume up on your body, just because it's easier to tone it down when you need it. It's harder to amp it up, but in this ritual setting where there are no real life consequences, it's a good place to practice turning up the volume. Like, what is it to be comforted? For me, I just want to like hug myself and just stroke my arms. I don't know what it is for you, but just to notice what it is your body wants and exaggerate it a little more. I can't help but to do. You don't have to do what I do. I can't help but to use my body.
Okay.
The idea, though, is to just turn up the volume so you really feel it in every cell of your body. Yeah, we're going to start with a big breath in. I'm comforted and relaxed.
I am comforted and relaxed.
Yes. Another big breath in. I'm warm, safe, and fulfilled.
I am warm, safe, and fulfilled.
And any part of that stands out as the most important part.
Fulfilled.
Let's make that an I am statement. I am fulfilled.
I am fulfilled.
Let that fill you up. Yeah. Feel that in every cell of your body. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's coming up for you?
Just feel solid.
Mm.
Yeah. Comfortable, confident, grounded.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Ooh. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your willingness to go back in time and travel with me.
Oh, you're welcome. That was good. Yeah, because that memory's come up a few times since that first initial remembering, but never actually did anything about it. It was just more of, oh, that happened. So,
I wonder if earlier in your life you spent that the feeling of no one's there for me was a recurring theme for you.
no, I think I went the opposite way in that I've got to be in control.
Well, that makes sense because if no one's there for you, that's the segue. If no one's there for you, you have to be in control.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So what if you let go of control? Will anything happen? Or will nobody be there?
Oh, I'm okay if no one's there right now.
Got it.
Okay, cool.
The way this is related to the 5 C's to tango with tough topics is to go into a tough conversation from the perspective of needing to be in control.
Yeah.
The conversation won't go well. So instead of starting that conversation from that mindset, to have the mindset of I'm solid, comfortable, confident, and grounded. That's a great mindset to begin. I'm relaxed. I'm comforted and relaxed. I'm warm, safe, and fulfilled. I'm solid, comfortable, confident, and grounded. That's the way to begin one of those tough topics.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Just feeling it.
Well, to say more about feeling it. What are you feeling?
No, it's just in like solar plexus and then in my gut, just the solidness.
Good.
It's just that moment.
All the Shiraz-isms clicked.
Apparently, Jessica's having a moment. So, yeah. So it took you coming in here and doing this exercise for everything I've been telling her to finally click.
So what was unclicked? Tell me.
Oh, I don't know what was unclicked for her.
Okay.
She was just making that statement like that.
I see. That's what that meant.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So do I need to have a copy of those mantras and say them for a certain amount of time, or?
Well, what I usually do then, thank you for asking that, is I send, usually we get a longer dialogue And but whatever it is, it becomes like a meditation or a prayer or a poem or a mantra, whatever you want to call it. That's important to repeat and to feel the meaning of the words in your body, because every time you do that, you're doing your reps, and that new neural pathway gets stronger and stronger until your comfort zone expands and it becomes a part of who you are. So what I like to say is to practice when you don't need it. Like when you wake up in the morning, when you put your head down on the pillow at night, whenever you're doing something that's relatively mindless, brushing your teeth, driving a car, standing in line, riding your bike, on a hike, working out, any repetitive motion, those are great times to practice your mantras and the mudra. To just feel the energy in your body is essential in creating and training and strengthening this neural pathway. Because when you have that pathway in place, it changes your brain. It changes your thoughts, your feelings, and how you respond to life.
Nice. Okay.
You're welcome.
Oh, and it's way more effective than going through a list of possible mantras, because this is directly relating to the pain that you experienced and flipping it around.
So true. There are certainly generic mantras that are pretty cool and they could work, of course, and they're like affirmations. But when it comes from you and your longing of what you wanted to hear when, say, you were 6 months old and no one was there for you, when it's customized in that way, it's so much more specific. And then it's really like creating an antidote. Another analogy I often use is it becomes like a vaccine, or say the flu vaccine has some flu virus of certain strains of the flu. And if you get that vaccine, they say you don't get those strains of the flu, whether you're a vax person or not. That's the theory behind it. And in that regard, when we go back to your emotional pain, that's essentially your the virus or the emotional wound that you've been carrying. And then the antidote has some of that emotional poison, if we could say, in it, or venom in it. And then it's so powerful in turning that older emotion around. So it doesn't have to be anymore.
Nice. So Jessica is playing around here. We always knew you were a control freak. Now we know why.
I see I always love mantras, and a great way to ground your intentions with the mudras. Yes. The mantra alone is like an affirmation, and I don't think they're as powerful.
Oh, she meant mudras.
Yeah. Well, I want to just talk about the value of having them both. And she's right. Absolutely. When you have both the words impact your mind and the mudra is in your body. And the two together are so much more powerful than affirmations alone or mantras alone.
Okay. I like it. Whew. All right. So I just got zapped.
Good.
So we are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to turn it around, and I'm going to zap Andrea instead.
Yes.
All right. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
All right, we are back with me and Andrea, and we're about to do some energetic magic. I just forgot what my own modality was.
No, I'm going to get zapped.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of you who have never seen this before, what's going to happen now is I'm going to have a conversation with Andrea about something she wants to shift in her life. And when I talk to people, I can tell when your conscious beliefs match your unconscious beliefs. So whenever they don't match, I'm going to say, Andrea, that's not coming up true. When it doesn't come up true, we're going to look for the unconscious story that's making that untrue. And when we get to it, I'm going to say, are you willing to step out of that story? If Andrea says yes, and she means it, and I can tell if you mean it or not, then it's going to shift in that moment. When it does, when energy shifts around me, I tend to yawn and cough. So expect that for the next little while. Andrea knows how her body reacts when energy shifts. And here's the cool thing. If you are watching now, live or on the replay, when I ask, are you willing to step out of that story? If you've got the same story, you can say yes, and it's going to shift for you, because I'm not actually moving the energy. I'm guiding you to the story. And that yes you're doing is you moving the energy. You're saying, I'm done with this. This is not helping me. I'm stepping out. It's through. And that actually rewires your neural pathways to the new story. So, Andrea, what are we working on?
Excuse me. This is actually very current. It seems whenever I'm about to do something that's a big deal, or I'm expanding my visibility and I'm going to be seen by more people, my even colleagues, what usually happens is something that seems to be outside my control, but there's consistency in this. It's always computer problems. So I have my masterclass tomorrow. Last week, I was on a Zoom call and my computer locked up. I got this pop-up that took up my whole monitor and said, you're locked out of your computer. And there's a longer story and I won't go into it all, but it's perpetuated. It's still going on. At least I'm back. I'm using a new computer right now. Every time you open a new app, you've got to do all this weird stuff. It asks you all these questions you don't know answers to. It's been a time suck. It's taken hours when I could have been, doing a whole lot of other things. And so I think, well, what I want to shift is the resistance that makes those things happen.
Okay. What would happen if there was no resistance? If all the technology worked in you?
Excuse me. I might have ease.
That's true. Is it okay to have ease?
No, there's no pride in that. Think how proud you can be if something you do is really tough.
Oh.
Yeah. Now yeah, right? Oh, that was a message I got. If that comes easily, oh, that's nothing.
Okay.
But when you have to work for it, oh, that's a good thing.
So that's a story you were taught.
Yep.
And that's controlling your life right now. Okay. So it's amusing to me because I was just having a conversation a couple hours ago about how I got onto the plane and I had my AirPods on. I was listening to something and I was so tired I was starting to nod off, my head tilted, and my AirPod fell off and went under the seat in the airplane. And you know how hard it is to find something in an airplane. But also they actually say in the rules now, if you lose your AirPod or electronic stuff, do not go under the seat and look for it. You could be posing a hazard, so you have to wait and let one of the flight attendants take care of it. So yeah, they actually say it now. Do not go looking for it. And so it fell off, and I'm like, AirPod fell out. Oh well, it'll come back to me. It's not a big deal. And so instead of putting any effort into doing it, I just took out the other AirPod. I was just sitting there for a while, and then the woman across the aisle from me looks down behind my seat, and she goes, "Oh," and she bothers the woman behind me, and she says, "Can you grab his AirPod? I can see it on the floor behind you." And she's like, "What?" And she looks down right there and says, "Oh, okay." So she grabs it, and then she just hands it to me, and And I go and I put my AirPods back on and just go. I'm like, I didn't have to do a damn thing.
Sweet.
Zero effort. And that felt so good.
Sure.
All right. And then one of the students comes up and she's got this plate of goodies. We're in business class, so we get all the goodies. And I'm like, oh, the cookies I really like aren't here. And she goes, what cookies? I said, those little things. And she goes, oh, those are all in an economy. I'm like, those are an economy cookie? So, and I said, okay, don't worry about it. And she's like, no. And she goes back, she grabs some of the cookies, she brings them up. I didn't even ask for it, but it just shows up. No effort. It feels
no
good.
Effort.
Right?
Sweet. Mm-hmm.
And let's take it up a notch. Last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I just get an email. I'm ready. And it's a client that I didn't even know was interested. I have a program called $1 Million Impact Makers. It's a $100,000 program. The first installment is $12,500. She said, I want to join the program, and she paid in full. No sales, no effort. So imagine if that's how things, and here's the thing, it doesn't have to all show up like that, because for me, there are days where I work my ass off and I'm done and I feel proud, and that's great. But then there's days where everything just shows up and I feel done and I'm proud, and I'm like, because I can just manifest like crazy. So are you willing to step out of the story that it's only going to feel fulfilling? You're only going to feel pride in it if you have to work hard for it.
I'm ready. Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to step out of the story that technical difficulties are the best way to make things harder?
Oh, yes, please.
And keep in mind that what you were talking about to me works the same for you. So when you're having those technical difficulties, instead of trying to push your way through it, if you go the other way and relax and surrender to it, then the energy you're using to cause the disruption in the electronics goes away. So,
I know when it first happened, I was surprised at how calm I was about it. I was thinking, you should be really freaking out. And I'm like, It just, I didn't want that, but it happened. Yeah. And then every time I'd open an app and all these, and I couldn't upload photos to my Infusionsoft, and I couldn't, I can't, the list would go on, and I would just go, and then I would just get so frustrated. I remember dropping my head into my hands going, what how do I get out of this? So, it started out like, well, okay, I just have to deal with this. Yeah. But it just still happens. It just keeps happening.
Yeah, because your mind discovered something that works for it, that's efficient. And so it uses that. Right. So the things my mind is locked down to are, because I used to have arthritis. So whenever I reach a stress point, I can feel my arthritis coming in, and I know that's something I need to clear. Right. So now my arthritis is an early warning system instead of a chronic illness I have to deal with. The other thing that happens is my bank account goes down. If I see my bank account start to drop, then I know it's because there's an upper limit of success, of visibility, of even wealth that I'm pushing up against, and so my unconscious says, "Let's get away from that" by pushing my bank account down. So I know I've got something in that area of my life to clear.
Right. Me too.
Okay.
That's part of the visibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have any technical difficulties and everything went well, would you be a lot more visible?
Absolutely.
Do you want to be a lot more visible?
Yes.
That's not coming up true. What's wrong with being a lot more visible? So many people in the audience are reacting to this one. So,
I felt it even in the session with you, because there's a piece that I missed in doing my session with you a moment ago.
yeah.
I wanted to tie together the need to be in control with the fact that, you know, and I could go more into it describing that, but for me to see that I was wrong is like, and then to have like colleagues out there, anybody out there, but to have our listeners like see, oh, she missed that point. What a bad coach she is. Ooh, I'm not going to work with her. She missed that really important point. You know, Shiraz is the one that made the connection. Oh, she missed it.
Do you have to be perfect when other people are watching?
Apparently so.
Okay. Are you willing to step out of that story?
Yes.
The irony of trying to be perfect is that people don't relate to perfect. So when trying to be perfect, you're taking yourself away from your connection to your audience.
Mm-hmm.
I sent out an email today, and it talked about me doing this trip and getting up at 3:00 in the morning to come out here. And it said, why did I do that? And I know you're expecting me to say, you know, get in there early, be a go-getter. It's like, nope, I forgot that the event is tomorrow. And I thought it started at 11 a.m. today. And so I had to get in as early as possible. I could have taken an afternoon or an evening flight and just relaxed and slept in, but nope, I screwed up. Right? So, and I just threw it out there. Okay, audience, look, here's me just being a mess right now. So, and then coming onto the show, right? My laptop is on my suitcase because things are messed up over here. I'm running on Red Bull, and we had technical difficulties and started about a minute late. So it's all good. All right. There's a song out there, and I'm not encouraging people to make things bad, but it's called 100 Bad Days Makes 100 Good Stories.
So true. So true.
Yeah. And for me, the way I interpreted that is harvest the good from every bad situation.
Well, the good is I have a new computer now. Yay.
Yes.
Needed to happen anyway.
Okay. So are you willing to step out of the story that when you're wrong, people stop trusting you?
Yes.
Are you willing to step out of the story that when you're wrong, it means you're not good enough?
I was going to say yes, but I knew you weren't going to buy it.
So you realize that being wrong can be an amazing thing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. It's like, I didn't think I'd make $1 million this year. Oh, I was wrong. I didn't think I'd sell out my workshop. Oh, I was wrong. I didn't think I'd find the love of my life. Damn, I was wrong. So being wrong can be amazing. But if you're trained to always be right, you lose out on all those other possibilities that could show up that look like you're wrong. So are you willing to step out of the story that whenever you're wrong, it means you're not good enough?
Yes.
Okay, how's that feel?
Ease.
Yay.
Yeah. Flow.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. I like that. Okay. So before we wrap up, I have this handy for like the first time ever on the show. The lineup of what else is going on the Breakthrough Show Network this week. Tuesday, 6 p.m. This is all Eastern. Beyond 2D is coming up. Wednesday, 9 a.m. Project Joy Live. Friday, 9 a.m. another Project Joy Live. And Friday, 1 p.m. the Breakthrough Show itself is happening live. So tune in for the rest of the week for all these great shows. And I'm assuming Spirit Sessions is going to be next Sunday as well, but don't hold me to that. It was last Sunday. I think it's every week. That's a good show too. So check that out. That's on Sundays at 1 o'clock. Before we head off, Andrea, please tell the audience how they can get in touch with you.
Well, I do have a master class tomorrow. I was going to put it in the chat, but I haven't been able to enter anything in the chat. I clicked join. I got to click at YouTube. Maybe I could get this to work here.
Throw it private to me, and I will put it in the chat.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, a great way to connect is to click on that link, and you will hear you'll read about my masterclass, the 5 C's to Tango with Tough Topics. And it includes not only how you start the conversation, but how you can navigate your way through and resolve those difficult conversations. And if you want to take my quiz, the easiest link I just put in the chat to you, Shiraz, eqquiz.com. You immediately get your blueprint, which is a pie chart of your quiz results. You get an interpretation guide. You get a 4-minute clip on what is emotional mastery. You get the Whammies webinar where I talk about all these different combinations of challenges that you might have that get in the way of living the life you want. And then, of course, there's an invitation to a call with me.
All right. So if you were here from the beginning and you heard about that quiz, this is the quiz we were talking about.
Yeah, it's based on the Enneagram, a personality system. And more than just typing you can see how much and how little you have of the gifts and the challenges in 18 areas of emotion.
Nice. All right. So click on those, attend that workshop, and definitely do that quiz. You can find out a lot more about yourself.
Yeah.
And we have to head out now. We're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much, Andrea, for being part of the show. I really appreciate you coming out here. And if you want to know how to get in contact with it, other than those two things, in the show notes we put our contact information. So check that out as well. Do you have any final words before we head out?
Yeah, I want you all to know that change can be easy when you know how to create those new neural pathways. Because who you've always been doesn't have to be who you will be. The brain has neuroplasticity. We're always learning and changing and growing. It's part of life. Change can be easy, but I want you to know.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll be back next month with a guest that I have yet to determine because, I wait till the last minute to do all this. But the guest will be amazing. So Rewriting Reality, the last Monday of every month, 3 p.m. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.